welcome everybody to Monday Morning Call with Paul. I got my good friend, mentor, godfather of us all here, Isaiah Tademy, going with the new lumberjack look. Love it.
Let's go, bro.
Yeah, trying to catch up with Mark Hilton, but I don't think it's going to work, my guy. I mean, he's got that thing down to a science, right? It's funny when he colors it, he starts to look like Drake. So we call him Drake when he colors in the black.
You know, man, this is like my first time really having a beard. So like, I'm like trying to shape it and like it's a lot of work, dude. I got respect.
No joke, yeah.
For beard game. I really do. Because I'm like, man, you let it go for a few days and you get some scragglies out here. So it's a lot of work, bro.
But quick question, man. This is probably the most important question of the days. But how does Carolina feel about it?
She likes it.
Okay, well then you're you're good.
And she didn't like it. I'm rocking with it. 'Cause I like it.
Perfect, man. Well, hey, I kind of want to just, get started on a few things that we had talked about before. Super excited that you came on. I know you got a short amount of time because you're going to a house inspection. I can't wait to get to the conversation of real estate with you because I think a lot of people here would love to hear about that. But first and foremost, man, I really want to set the table with goal setting, right? How important has that been to you and your business growing with Family First Life and Elevate? And then how has it been instrumental into what you're doing now?
Yeah, man, I think it's super important. I think a lot of people, I mean, you have to have measurable goals, right? To know kind of where you're going and make sure you're in the right direction. I've taught a lot of agents this. I've taught a lot of people just kind of the way I like to do things. I'm a guy, like I like to have an annual goal. I like to have like annual goals, but I like to think of it, I like to break things down, right? Just like if you have a goal with, hey, I want to sell 30 grand this month. It's like, that's cool and all, but how are you going to do that? So what I do is I break down the amount of days that I'm going to run appointments. So if I'm looking at my calendar, I usually am like 30 days in advance, like what I'm doing for the entire month. Usually the like on the 30th or the 31st, I'm planning out my entire next month. So I know exactly what I'm doing every single day.
Yeah.
I got like a board that I've got in my room. I'm kind of crazy with it. I'm OCD, but I've always been like that. So, I'll go through the calendar and I'll say, okay, I've got a birthday party on this day. I've got a vacation for these 3 days, or I'm doing this on this day. How many field days or how many days am I going to be running appointments now? So out of these 30 days, maybe it's only 16 days that I'm actually selling insurance.
Yeah.
Right. Based on those 16 days, if I want to sell 30 grand, well, what does that math break out to, right? And then you could even break it down even further than that. It's like, all right, if I got to sell $1,800 a day to hit my goal this month, how many appointments do I need to run? Because I know based on, just the way I run business, I know, I know what my no-show ratio is. I know what my average premium per policy is. You can even really get into the weeds of that. So, dude, I've always been like that. I'm the same way still today. I on the last day of the month, I break it out what I want to accomplish that month.
Yeah.
And then I break it into individual daily goals.
Now, so you're looking at it every day then. You're seeing where you're at. And then if you're ahead, are you readjusting your daily goal? Or if you're behind, are you readjusting your daily goal, or are you just keeping it the same?
It's just a daily goal. So, I either hit the daily goal or I didn't. And on my whiteboard in my room, I usually will put like a green check mark if I hit all my goals for the day, or a red X. And it's kind of motivating. Like kind of once you kind of get going through the weeks, you'll see like some green check marks, you'll see some red X. But 9 times out of 10, if there's more green check marks than there's X's,
yeah,
usually I'll end up hitting my monthly goal. So it's just about holding myself accountable daily instead of, because a lot of people do it. You have a big goal and there's just like no real path to get there. It's just like, all right, I want to be a Hall of Fame this year. How am I going to do that? You got to break it down. So
yeah,
man.
It's funny because Anthony Amaker, we both love him, right? And he's consistently hitting that 400,000 mark. And that's definitely due to goal setting and making sure your path is there. So for those of us that are, brand new and we're trying to get there, and you're breaking down the goal from a year, are you breaking it down quarterly also and then monthly, or are you just breaking it from year down to monthly and then daily?
Yeah, I go yearly, monthly, and then daily. I could go quarterly, but I don't. Yeah, I'm a yearly and then a monthly and then a daily guy.
Okay.
So I even got a planner. You'll see here. Actually, it's kind of hard to tell. what I'll do is I can link it in like a link in here, or I'll shoot you a text, Paul, but
Sure.
it's a super organized planner. Like it, even like in the day, you know, I'll know what I'm doing for that day. I'll wake up early in the morning and I've got like the calendar shows like from 6 a.m. all the way down to 9 p.m. And I'm writing down what I've got every single hour. So if it's an appointment, if it's a showing, if it's whatever, I know what I'm doing every single hour of the day too. And that just kind of helps me stay, you know,
Organized.
accountable for the day and organized, dude.
Yeah,
But again, I'm crazy, dude. Like I'm crazy about it. I'm kind of OCD, so I don't think everyone has to do that. But you have to do something. You gotta do something to measure your progress, because it's just like shooting in the dark. If you don't, you know, you've got to have some sort of measurement, man.
for sure. When you're sort of, talking about measurements and stuff, are you giving yourself rewards for meeting those measurements or those goals? Or how do you reward yourself? How does that work?
Yeah, that's actually a good question. I think it's actually really important to reward yourself, because you know, you can have burnout really quickly if you're just like so focused on business and goal setting. You know what I mean? So sprinkle some rewards in there. Like for example, Carolina and I, like we have an extra account, like an extra bank account where it's like our fun account, where we like to have fun with, and it's basically guilt-free spending. So if I had a goal to make, $10,000 this month in sales, whatever, right? Anything above that, like we would set a percentage of that towards our fun account. So we'd have ours was like 15%. So like 15% of anything above what the goal was, we could just throw into our fun account, and now we'd have guilt-free spending. Like we'd take vacation, we'd, go to fancy restaurants, we'd buy each other gifts, just things like that. To like, it makes things fun. And now she's kind of on my ass too a little bit too, because she's like, you better grow that account. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
it makes it challenging. It makes it fun. Because I mean, that's what life's all about in my eyes, man. Like, dude, business is cool and all, but if you can make it enjoyable and make it fun, it's just even better, right? And that's just one way that we've done that, is you got to sprinkle in some rewards along the way, for sure. That's just one thing that we do.
Yeah, that makes sense. One of the questions I really wanted to talk to you about too, and I think this is good for people here, is from when you first started, right? Was there any adjustments that you wish you would have made, or that you did make that was important that you made?
Yeah, the insurance industry, as we all know, is a very fast moving. Things are changing a lot, especially on the marketing side. That's why it's so important to have people like Samir, who's very innovative. He's very aware of what's going on. He tries to stay in front of those things, because this industry is changing a lot. I mean, dude, hindsight's 2020, but if I could go back in time,
Yeah.
and make any adjustments, like, dude, we would have went virtual day one. One thing that I think I took a big risk, pretty early on, and I think it did help out a lot, was is when we grabbed all the direct mail basically nationwide, right?
Yeah.
That was a really big risk. It was on my credit card, and I had a lot of trust in, the virtual crew coming in and saying, we can take it on. And dude, it helped us run a lot of direct mail, nationwide.
So you
And
made that
help
decision
also
once we came over. That's when you made that decision to go.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah,
It was. Yeah. Because Harold told me, Harold's like, dude, we all run virtual. And I'm like, man, that is crazy. Like,
Yeah.
these leads are so expensive. We're talking 60, 70, $80 a pop.
Yeah.
Like, we need to be there face to face, because it just increases our, it helps our close ratio.
For sure.
But Harold was like, dude, we need leads. And I'm like, all right, put the credit card down, dude. And we sent it, bro.
Yeah.
And yeah, man, it ended up working out, because obviously we've got a really good team here. A lot of people, the training is great, and people know how to sell virtually. And
Yeah.
it worked out, man. So it could have went real quick the other way around, dude, because I mean, geez, maybe 2 or 3 months of that credit card bill with no income would have put me out of business.
Right.
Sure. So yeah, dude, it's just to kind of recap, it's like in this industry, for sure, it's really important to stay innovative, because the marketing side is always changing, man. So I think there's really key people here that do a really good job of that, for sure. So yeah, man.
Absolutely. So those are big adjustments, right? Let's say you're a new, younger guy. What type of things or adjustments should you be making consistently so that you can grow big, whether it's in your own personal sales or you want to build a team?
Yeah, man. I think it's important to understand that in this business, like, there's really no secret, So, and I'm sure you've noticed this, Paul, too. When you're recruiting people, this is my experience at least. When I talk to people that are like, I've been in the business for 10 years and I've done this and done that and done this,
Yeah.
that's like a red flag to me. Some people are like, oh my gosh, we're getting a really experienced, recruit here that understands the business. But, at the same time, those people come with a lot of baggage too, because they've been kind of doing things their own way for so long, right?
Yeah.
So I just think, for someone that's new, it's important to be a sponge. No matter what your background is, no matter what your experience is, it's important to kind of humble yourself and understand that there's people in this business, in this agency, that are having success. And we're all just a bunch of copycats. I didn't do anything special. I just copied what Andrew Taylor did. I just copied what Paul McLean did. I took little bits and pieces and things that I resonated with other people and just kind of made it my own. But yeah, man, I think it's important to just kind of humble yourself and listen to people that are having success and actually having results, for sure.
Yeah, it makes sense. The one thing I love about this business isn't just the ability to work when you want type of thing, right? It's actually what you've been able to do past life insurance, which is create other businesses. And I think that's beautiful because in a way you're using the life insurance like an ATM machine to fund another business, right? And I want to know if you're okay with it, kind of touch in on that and how that's affected your ability to do that.
Meaning just like you want to kind of know how I'm doing it?
Well, start with what you're doing, because I think a lot of people don't know what it is that you're doing.
Okay. Yeah, man, I do several things, but the probably the biggest thing I'm doing right now is I'm a real estate investor. The insurance industry is insane because, dude, 5 years ago I had no money. Like, dude, 6 years ago or 7 years ago, I was stealing Thanksgiving dinner from Walmart because I was at the college I was at, and like, dude, literally no money. And it seems like it's a long time, like 5 years. But if you really just kind of take a step back and zoom out, dude, 5 years of your life is nothing. So
it isn't, yeah.
It's nothing, dude. It's nothing. 5 years of dedication, of hours of just fully committing yourself to this business, 100% will change your life. 100%. Okay. It doesn't even need to be 5 years, probably shorter than that. But I'm in this business 5 years now. So yeah, man. So it's really cool because we've been able to build a business that produces a lot of cash flow. And I still, to this day, I believe there is no business that exists that can produce the amount of cash flow that the insurance business does as fast. There are businesses where you can produce the cash flow, but as far as like startup costs, and cost of starting business, the cost of starting business in this space is so low. It's really just based on sweat equity, and you can build cash flow in a handful of years, insane cash flow. So that's what I've been able to do. Luckily, I also work with really great people like you, Samir, Vivian, all these other people that have, that take on management roles where, I've been able to delegate a lot. So you mentioned ATM machine. Yeah, if you really want to look at it that way, it literally is like an ATM machine, because what I do right now is I pull money out of the real estate business or out of the insurance business when I want to buy real estate, and I put that into real estate. So yeah, what I'm doing right now in real estate, I'm having a lot of fun. I have a lot of purpose behind it because that's something that I also always need to have. I feel like I have to have purpose behind what I do to keep myself going. And I've kind of stumbled upon affordable housing. Basically, what I'm doing right now is there's a lot of people that are low income. They're on a government program, what's called Section 8. And basically what it is, it's people that have to qualify for it. They're supporting a family, and for some reason, they are in a financial bind, and the government helps out with their housing. So I have a contract with the government where, I'm able to leverage rents from the government. So the government is basically paying rent on their behalf. As a landlord, I don't have to worry about chasing rent down from people like, hey, are you going to pay rent next month? I don't have to worry about it because the government is direct depositing it to me on the first of the month. And at the same time, I'm providing really high quality living for people that need it. And I get a lot of purpose behind it because, man, it's just the coolest thing ever. Like these kids that live in these, in the hood and like these really ghetto neighborhoods, and they're living in these big subsidized housing apartment complexes where there's crime and drugs and all kinds of stuff. Dude, I'm getting them out of there, and they're living in white picket fence house, neighborhoods, gated
Better
communities.
neighborhood, better schooling.
And they're like, hey,
It can change the trajectory of the child's future for sure. And I think there's a story that I hope I can share. I'm just gonna share it. I don't care what you think, Isaiah. Sorry, my guy. I love you, man. But I want people to kind of see the type of person you are. Isaiah and I, we talk quite a bit about different things about business. And one of the things he shared with me is that there was a lady moving from another state to Florida, and she had to get certain things done in order to qualify for the Section 8. But he had already kind of moved them in ahead of time before getting those qualifications. And Isaiah was sweating like, she still hasn't done it, man. I don't know if I made a mistake, right? And I was like, he's like, I was looking at the kids and I felt like it was just something I needed to do for them. And I said, I think you did the right call. I mean, you look at it, right? Worst case scenario, they have to, eventually move out because she didn't do what she was supposed to do. But you took time out of your own personal heart instead of just thinking business all the time, which any other businessman would have just threw them out right away. And then those kids would have had to look at another place to move, another place to live, and kind of follow that same trajectory, which is not the positive one. And you hung in there. She got her stuff done. And then now probably one of your best tenants is from what you told me before. And I just want to applaud you for that, because I think that's awesome that you really mix your business with also, what's best for people out there. A lot like life insurance, what we do is very honorable because we're really helping a family that when that person passes away, that their family has money. They don't have to do car washes. They don't have to, do GoFundMe accounts or try to pull money from elsewhere. So I think it's really cool that you go from one honorable thing to the next. And I think that's part of the blessings that you receive. I don't know if you agree, but I think what you put out is what you get.
Yeah, man. 100%.
I think that was completely awesome of you. But there was a little birdie out there that's been saying that there might be a chance here in the near future that what you're creating will all be able to participate in with you. Is that true?
Yeah, man. I want everyone here to focus on insurance. Okay.
For sure.
Because that's what I've done to be able to do what I do, right? And you have to build the cash flow to be able to get there. And it takes an amount of obsession with your craft to master your craft, to be, to be able to do it at a high level, to be able to do other things, right? So I just want to throw that there first. But yeah, to answer your question, Paul, one thing that I am excited about is, I think a lot of people in not just necessarily this business, but a lot of in the sales space, I think a lot of people are so focused. They're very, what's the word I'm looking for? A lot of people don't think long term, right? It's very focused on how can I make money right now? And I think that's just how people are kind of bred in sales, because that's just how sales is. Let's get the kill and get paid, get the kill and get paid.
Yeah.
And I think this culture kind of sets people behind a little bit because they're not planning for the future. I would be willing to bet a good percentage of people on here probably don't really have a retirement plan. I'm willing to bet most people on this call have zero plan for retirement. Right now, it's just like, I'm just focused on making 20 grand this month, making 30 grand this month. So one thing that I'm excited about that I'm working on is building something that you own that is passive. I love real estate just because that's what I'm involved in. There are a lot of different retirement vehicles out there. Real estate is just one of them. But I'm excited because, yeah, I am working on something right now. And I'm not going to put like too much information out there, but I am working on something right now where, for everyday people to be able to own real estate, where it'd be like, instead of owning an entire property yourself, you might own a percentage of the property. Because basically what I'll have is I'll have like it's called a fund, but a fund where everyone can kind of participate in the fund. And let's say you say, hey, I made 10 grand this month, but I want to put 2 grand aside for my retirement or for the fund or for this or for that. So we can build a fund up that is in the fund will go out and acquire properties, and everyone will participate in ownership in the portfolio of the properties. So you'll get, your passive income, you'll get the appreciation of real estate, you'll participate in all the tax benefits. I don't have all the details out right now, but I am working on building that. And that is something that I am excited for. And I think it's needed, man. I think a lot of people in our space, do need some education or do need a plan for retirement, or for, there might be a month where, dude, you want to just like go take a vacation and like take a
Yeah.
break.
Yeah.
And, if you don't have the means to like sell all the time, at least you have some other form of income that can come in and help cover some expenses, to
I
build
think,
something that's a little bit more passive. So yeah, dude, that's what I am working on.
yeah, I think it's kind of cool that it's something that you're doing because, like you said, it's something that we don't focus on in sales. It's all about, how much did you make today or how much did you write this month? It's sales has always been like that from the beginning of times. You make a lot, spend a lot, make a lot, spend a lot. Nothing about savings, nothing about planning for the future. I think that's just the same as far as schools go. We don't teach it in schools either, or in any kind of education. It's weird how we stay away from, planning for the future for the regular person, right? Some would say it's a conspiracy in a lot of ways, but really we don't talk about it. There's not a lot of education around it unless you know somebody who's already in that space and can kind of teach you that. And then there's a lot of stuff on the internet, but some of it, a good portion of it is disinformation too. So to know somebody that's from our group, getting into that field and growing and building something out that we all can benefit from is really cool. So I think I was super excited about, I know it's probably too soon to mention it to everybody, but I think you're such a good quality person that this is going to be something great for the whole team, that if they eventually want to, participate and they can. So thanks for letting me share it, man. I appreciate you.
Yeah, of course, dude. Appreciate that.
Isaiah has to go to an inspection here pretty soon for a house. Is there any questions for him that you guys have? Throw them in the chat real quick. He's got about 10 more minutes before he has to go. While people are typing up their questions or formulating their questions, is there anything that, any kind of wisdom that you'd want to part on everybody in regards to insurance that you think is, maybe something that's not mentioned as much that could help people to be successful?
Yeah. I think, you see a lot of different stuff online, right? And meaning like, this group is better. We do this over here. We do that over here. And, one thing I just want to say is like, the grass is not always greener, it's really not. And, because, there's so many agents that even, I've worked with, that leave, and then, there's always something wrong on the other side as well, right? It's kind of cliche saying, but the grass is always greener where you water it. It is, oh, Casey just said it. That's a real thing.
Yeah.
I think there's really great people here. There's so many resources here. Everything is here for an agent to be successful. There really is. So don't get distracted with like all this stuff sometimes that you see online, and there's just so many distractions out there. Just hyper focus on mastering your skill set, because this insurance license is literally a license to print cash. And it doesn't matter what IMO you're at, it doesn't matter what company you're working for, as long as you have resources to get clients and you have mastered this skill set to sell insurance. This is a product that will be needed forever, right? And the insurance space has thrived during all types of economies.
Sure. Pandemic.
Everything. Yeah, exactly. It's always been strong. So just know that you're in the right place, you're in the right vehicle, you have the right license. It's just kind of the ball's in your court right now. You got to just like really hyper focus on building this skill set, because I promise you, this license will set you free. Seriously. And I'm not just saying that just to like try and, inspire everyone and just, put icing on the cake or whatever. It's real. It really is. Like, guys, literally, where do you know where if you have $0 in your bank account, and if you can get your hands on a handful of leads, you can legitimately have 5, 6, 7 grand in your bank account at the end of the week? Where can you do that legally? Nowhere. I've looked. I've been so skeptical before working here, and diving all in on the insurance space. I was so skeptical. I looked everywhere, dude, and there's nothing that pays like this as fast. Nothing. So the ball's in your court.
Who recruited you?
Dude, Roy recruited me. Roy recruited me, dude. We were at the gym, and he was like showing me bank deposits on his phone. And I'm like, dude, that is insane, bro.
Yeah.
And he was like, let me take you on a ride along and I'll show
Right.
you. So I called in sick at work and I went with Roy. And dude, Roy, he had like, I think he had like 8 appointments that day and probably sold 7. I think he even still says to this day, he's like, dude, that was the best day of my life.
Yeah, he told me that story. So Roy recruited me too,
Yeah.
like Samir, and he always tells me a story when he recruited you. He went 7 for 7, and then you asked him, "Is it always like that?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's always like
Yeah, he's
that."
like, dude, it's always like this. It's just that
Yeah,
easy. I
because he
just say
wanted you to
this.
think that way, and then you went out expecting it to be that way, and it made you a good salesman. But I guess one of the first times you went out, you didn't get 7 for 7. It was a tough day, and you're like, "I don't know what's happening."
Yeah, I was like, dude, I said that script, but how come it didn't work?
It didn't work. How come I didn't get 7 for 7? Roy's hilarious. Sydney's got a question here. What are the key financial principles you've learned from being a life insurance agent that you can apply to other investments? Ooh, that's a great question.
Key financial principles. Um, Here's one thing I think, Paul, you kind of touched on this. Here's one thing I think is a really big mistake a lot of insurance agents make. I think insurance agents overspend because, um, there's kind of like a false sense of amount of money you're making in this space
For sure. Yeah.
because you see the deposits coming in daily, and it's so easy to go get more deposits that it kind of tricks your mind a little bit. But what a lot of people don't really do is they don't factor in that this is advanced money. It's basically an interest-free loan, right? And you have expenses, right?
Yeah.
So you got to think of like almost like you don't really want to spend the money. I'd say like if you're new in this space, I would almost try to like treat the money as this like it's the house's money. Like it's not my money right now for probably legit like the first year. So like I'm living on like beans, rice, and Jesus Christ for the first year, dude. And Anthony will get that joke.
Yeah.
um, yeah, man, I'm just like really living below my means, right? So I think yeah, you just live a little bit below your means until income is strong consistently. So
I,
don't
I,
spend money on dumb stuff right away, dude. I had an agent. I think I told you this story before. I had an agent first month out, crushed it, dude. He banged out like 35 grand his first month. He sends me a text a week later. He's on the floor of the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, floor spots, and his whole family's with him. And he like took a selfie. He's like, bro, you changed my life. I can't believe. Thank you so much. I'm so grateful for you, dude. 2 months later, he's out of the business. He made
yeah.
35 grand his first month.
Yeah.
So just be smart with the money. It's the house's money. It's not yours up front. So just
Here's
be
what might surprise a lot of people. You basically lived off of paying yourself 60 grand a year or 50 in the beginning, right? Then you gave yourself a 10 grand raise, but that was when you were bringing in still, 70, 80,000 a month, right? But you still set yourself at a very small wage, and you've lived that way all the way even till now. And I don't think a lot of people understand that, how important that was for you to be able to buy the real estate and have the revenue because you kept stacking your money. I think that'd be kind of cool to touch on how that helped you and why you did that way.
Yeah, man. I paid myself a salary. So after year one, I got the whole LLC thing, created a business bank account. So all business income, bonuses, overrides, just all commissions, right, went into the bank account, and then all expenses came out of the bank account, payroll, leads, software, all this stuff came out. And then I paid myself a salary out of that same bank account, 60 grand a year, into my personal bank account. So I lived off of the income in my personal bank account, and the business bank account had to run business. So yeah, I taught myself basically how to live off of 60 grand a year. And year one, that was, I didn't really have much profit left over after that because I didn't make a ton of money year one. Year two, I had a little bit more and I was starting to get a little bit better, but I did not increase my living. I didn't. Like, dude, I drove the same car, lived in the same place. Year three, my income jumped significantly and I'm still living on 60 grand a year, dude. So, yeah, man, it's kind of funny. I've had people like reach out to me, people above me in leadership at FFL, and they're like, dude, how are you buying properties? And I'm like, how are you not?
Right? Yeah, you're supposed to be bringing in more than me.
Yeah, you've been here longer than me, and you're in a higher position than me. You know,
Yeah,
obviously I'm not gonna call any names out, but it's like, it's just all it's all just based on decisions.
money management.
I made different decisions with the money than other people did.
Yeah,
And it sucked because, dude, I'm seeing some of these people like driving the coolest cars, living in the dopest houses, doing the craziest stuff, and I'm like, man, I can do that. I
yeah,
can. Like, I literally
yeah,
have the money to do that.
yeah.
But I'm just I'm just delaying gratification a little bit.
Man,
So
that's called discipline right there. And that's, I think, an important key to anything in life, right?
100%, Rob.
Yeah.
100%.
Well, hey, man, thanks for jumping on, man. Really appreciate you. As always, man, I love it when you come on here because it always gets kind of interesting. You always bring a different perspective for everybody. But hey, man, thanks for coming on Paul's call, and thank you.
Appreciate you having me, dude.